Welcome, if you dare, to our exclusive haunted walking tour of Liberty, Missouri. Across the United States, towns and cities harbor places steeped in ghostly lore and mysterious locations. In today's video, we dive into 4 of the most haunted spots in Liberty. But here's the twist. Only 3 of these locations are genuinely haunted. The 4th is a creation of the imaginative minds here at Wandering Walks of Wonder. As you watch, your challenge is to figure out which of these locations is our own creation and which 3 are truly haunted. At the end of the video, we will reveal which haunted Liberty location is true and which is not. Today's eerie journey leads us to 4 locations in Liberty, Missouri. They include the Oddfellows home, the Jesse James Bank Robbery Site Museum, William Jewell College, and the Clay County Historical Museum. So if you dare, let's explore the chilling tales behind Liberty's most haunted places. Our first stop on our haunted tour of Liberty, Missouri is the Oddfellows home. This is one of the most haunted locations in the area with a long history of eerie stories and paranormal encounters. This complex, which once housed orphans, the elderly, and indigent members of the Oddfellows Fraternal Organization, has a legacy of death, suffering, and tragedy, leading to many ghost stories over the years. One of the most popular ghost stories tied to the Oddfellows home is that of a spirit of a little girl. Visitors and paranormal investigators have reported seeing her roaming the halls of the old orphanage. Some claim she appears to be searching for someone or something, possibly other children who lived and died in the home. Her apparition is often described as wearing an old-fashioned dress, and she is seen playing or peeking around corners. Witnesses have reported feeling sudden cold spots in areas where she is said to have appeared. Another haunting phenomenon here at the Oddfellows home is that of a nurse's spirit. This spirit involves that of a former nurse who once worked at the facility. Legend has it that this nurse, who cared for the elderly residents, remains attached to the home even after her death. People claim to feel her presence, often described as a calming or even a nurturing energy. She is sometimes seen moving around rooms where the elderly were once cared for, continuing her duties long after passing away. And then there's the old infirmary building, where residents were treated for illnesses and spent their final days. It is said to be one of the most haunted areas on the property. This part of the Oddfellows home has a heavy, unsettling atmosphere, and people have reported feelings of dread or sadness upon entering. Apparitions of former patients, some bedridden or moving very slowly, have been spotted, and people have reported frequent spikes in paranormal activity in this area. And finally, at the Oddfellows home, there are these unexplained lights and orbs that are often seen. Many visitors have seen glowing orbs and strange lights moving through the buildings and across the grounds. These orbs are often seen in photographs and videos, and some believe they represent the spirits of former residents or energy left behind from traumatic events. Our next stop on our haunted tour of Liberty, Missouri is the Jesse James Bank Museum. This is not only a historic site, but also a hot spot for paranormal activity. This museum, formerly the Clay County Savings Bank, is famous for being the site of the very first successful daytime bank robbery in U.S. history, carried out by the James Younger gang of Jesse James and Cole Younger. It occurred in 1866. The robbery left one person dead, creating a legacy of violence that has fueled ghost stories about the location ever since. Here are just a few of the ghost stories tied to the Jesse James Bank Museum, including the spirit of the bank teller himself, John Sheets. During the robbery, The bank employee, whose name was John Sheets, was mistakenly identified as the bank's president. He was shot and killed by the gang. His tragic death has led many to believe that his spirit remains in the building. Visitors and staff have reported seeing a ghostly figure believed to be Sheets standing near the vault or in the area where he was murdered. Some claim to feel a chilling presence or hear faint whispers near where he died, suggesting his spirit is still lingering. And then there's those cold spots and unexplained temperature drops within the bank building itself. Many people have reported sudden unexplained drops in temperature while touring the museum. Cold spots, especially near the vault and in the room where John Sheets was killed, are frequent occurrences. Some believe these cold areas signify that the presence of spirits tied to that violent robbery exists through today. And then, is it possible that we still have the ghost of Jesse James and Frank James and other members of the gang who robbed the bank? Occasionally, people will suggest that the spirit of Jesse James or Cole Younger may haunt the site as well. These tales describe sightings of men in period clothing, often seen in the distance or very fleetingly. Some believe that they could be the ghosts of the outlaws returning to their scene of their infamous crime. And then there's the safe with a very, very dark presence. The bank safe, which was the primary target of the robbery, has a particularly eerie reputation. Many visitors have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread or negativity near that safe. Some paranormal investigators claim the safe holds some residual energy from the robbery, which continues to manifest to this day in the form of negative paranormal experiences. Our next stop on our haunted tour here in Liberty, Missouri takes us on a hill overlooking the downtown area and to the home of William Jewell College. William Jewell is a small liberal arts college with a long history dating back to 1849. Over the years, numerous ghost stories and paranormal legends have emerged from the campus. The combination of the age of the school, its historic significance, and several tragic events have fueled tales of hauntings that have intrigued students and visitors alike for over 100 years. Here are just a few of the well-known stories associated with William Jewell College. First is the building that we're seeing right now, which is Jewell Hall, and an apparition that appears. Jewell Hall is one of the oldest and most significant buildings on campus and has many, many legends inside. Over the years, there have been several stories of ghostly encounters in the building, particularly in the basement and upper floors. Witnesses have reported seeing shadowy figures moving through the halls, especially late in the evening. Some have claimed to hear voices echoing through the building when no one is around. The basement is said to be particularly eerie, with reports of cold spots and the sensation of being watched. The upper floors, used for academic purposes, are also rumored to have a ghostly presence. Across from William Jewell Hall and just down the mall area is Gano Chapel. Gano Chapel is one of the most iconic buildings on William Jewell campus and was built in the 1920s and is used for ceremonies, performances, and religious services. Students and staff have reported strange occurrences in Gano Hall, particularly at night. Some claim to hear mysterious footsteps on the stage or in the auditorium when no one else is around. There are also stories of strange tapping sounds, doors slamming on their own, and flickering lights. But one of the more eerie tales involves the sound of a piano playing late at night, despite the chapel being locked and empty. Also on the campus is the Pillsbury Music Center, where many students practice and perform music, and that building itself has its own ghostly lore. The building is known for old architecture and said to have a creepy atmosphere, especially in the late hours of the night. Students practicing in the Pillsbury Music Center have reported hearing strange noises, including footsteps in the hallways when they are alone, and someone playing an instrument in another room, only to find no one there. And then there's the ghost of a Confederate soldier. William Jewell College has deep ties to the Civil War, and the campus is said to have been involved in the conflict, particularly due to its location in Missouri, which was a border state during the war. Some ghost stories suggest that the spirit of a Confederate soldier haunts the campus. The ghost is often described as wearing a Confederate uniform and is seen oftentimes wandering around the grounds, particularly near the older buildings. Many students reported seeing him late at night, only for him to disappear when approached. The spirit may be connected to the Civil War skirmishes and the campus's ties to the conflict. Our final stop on our haunted tour of Liberty, Missouri is the Clay County Historical Museum, right in the heart of historic downtown Liberty, Missouri. This is a hotspot for ghost stories and paranormal activity owing to the rich history and artifacts housed within its walls. The museum is located in a 19th century building, and over the years, both visitors and staff have reported numerous eerie experiences. As it preserves the history of the area, including relics from the Civil War, Native American artifacts, and items from the early settlement days, it's no surprise the stories of hauntings have emerged. One such story is that of the apparition of early settlers. Several people have reported seeing ghostly figures dressed in 19th century clothing wandering throughout the museum's exhibits. These apparitions are often described as fleeting, seen out of just the corner of the eye, or vanishing quickly after being spotted. It is believed that these spirits may be tied to the artifacts on display, particularly those from Liberty's early days as a frontier town. Some guests have claimed to see a man wearing a long coat and a hat who disappears when approached. There's also stories about objects that move on their own inside the museum. Staff members have reported finding objects moved out of place, even when the museum has been locked up for the night. Items on display, including small trinkets, books, and even large furniture, have been found shifted or turned slightly. One chilling story involves a set of antique tools that were found in a different part of the museum than where they had been placed, despite no one moving them. Paranormal investigators suggest that spirits might be responsible for these disturbances, particularly those connected to the artifacts. Another story associated with the Clay County Historical Museum is that of the ghost of a Civil War soldier. Given Missouri's turbulent Civil War history, it's no surprise that the spirit of a Civil War soldier is said to haunt the Clay County Historical Museum. Witnesses have reported seeing a man in a tattered uniform, possibly a Confederate soldier, wandering through the museum. He's often spotted near the Civil War exhibits, particularly those featuring artifacts from battles fought in the area. Some visitors often feel a heavy presence around these displays, and a few have even reported hearing what sound like distant gunfire or marching footsteps. And then, one of the more unsettling phenomenon is that of the sound of children's laughter, which is occasionally heard throughout the museum. Some claim to hear children running or playing, but when they investigate, the museum is entirely empty. These sounds are most frequently reported near the exhibits that showcase toys and household items from the 1800s, leading some to believe that the spirits of children from Liberty's early days are still present. And staff have often heard the faint sound of a ball bouncing or small footsteps in rooms with no one in them. At the beginning of the video, we gave you a challenge to let you guess which one of the 4 haunted locations in Liberty, Missouri are from the imaginative minds of those of us here at Wandering Walks of Wonder. Keep in mind, we've watched 4 haunted locations here in Liberty. They include the Oddfellow Home, Jesse James Bank Robbery Site and Museum, William Jewell College, and the Clay County Historical Museum. After watching and listening to these stories, can you guess which 3 are true haunted tales and which one is made up from the minds of those of us at Wandering Walks of Wonder? We'll pause now and then let you guess. If you guess that the Clay County Historical Museum is that ghostly tale that is made up by us here at Wandering Walks of Wonder, then you are correct. And the other 3, they are true ghost stories. I hope you've enjoyed this Wandering Walks of Wonder haunted tour here in Liberty, Missouri. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you on our next Wandering Walks of Wonder haunted tour.